Okay, hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius and Anucauskas. Today's the 24th of February 2020. So, yep, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Monday's morning session where we're going to have a quick look at markets, a few of the charts, a few of the setups, interesting setups. Yep. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimers. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest, and we can continue. Okay, so also just before we jump in, a quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos here. And of course our JFD Bank website, and specifically our JFD research page, which we update on a daily basis. So yeah, guys, feel free to visit us here. For example, you could also sign up for our strategic report, which we deliver every Monday. So it's currently getting prepared. So if you still sign up for it here, subscribe for a strategic report, so it gets sent out every Monday. So yep, you can have a look at that as well. Now then, let's jump into the charts. Now the first one I want to touch on here is the FTSE 100. Now I haven't looked at this one for quite a while, but since last time I've looked at it, it kind of was moving sideways here a little bit, and basically I'll start this fresh basically. So we are still trading above a few upside lines here, or actually should I say at least one for sure, so which is this one right here, taken from the low the 3rd of October, the medium term upside support line. But I wanted to draw this one here as well, and let me just quickly put this one on the chart. So there we go. So this one's taken from the low of the 9th of December. So, but the little issue here is if we look at the cash index right now, we can see that the price is already below the 7,300 zone. So in other words, it is currently excuse me, it is currently balancing near the this medium-term upside support line taken from the low of the 3rd of October. So in other words, this upside line, this shorter-term one upside line, is now invalid because we've managed to break it on the cash index. But the main focus right now will be on this little territory right here, the low of the 31st of January, basically, or in other words, the lowest point of January near the 7,275 zone, because if that gets broken, then well, guess what, we could see a nice drift to the downside here. So that's why, guys, for now, be very careful. Of course, we're still balancing above this upside line. If it continues to balance above this upside line, then yep, still there could be a chance for the bulls to step in and drive this one higher. Of course, the only problem here is we do have a downside tentative line here, short-term one, of course, taken from the high of the 17th of January. And in a way, if we do see a push higher, then it might get limited near this downside line here. So that's why, guys, for now, we'll remain very careful and cautious, and and we'll remain very cautious and careful here, because we are very close to this upside support line. So let's keep an eye on this one for us to get excited about the, let's say, higher levels, at least in the near term. Maybe, well, ideally, of course, we would like to see a break of this downside line, but for now, we'll keep it short and simple. We'll keep an eye on this medium-term upside support line, and of course this lowest point of January near the 7,275 zone. So keep your eyes on that one, guys. It could be quite interesting, because if that gets broken, well, I mean, this is the opening the path towards the 7,131 zone, which is the lowest point of December last year. So keep your eyes on that one. Gold. Now, gold is popping higher in like crazy, and basically managed to overcome a few of the key resistance barriers here. Now, Of course, we managed to overcome this short-term downside resistance line taken from the high of the 7th of January. So in a way, we're going to get rid of that and focus on some of these resistance levels now. So in a way, of course, yeah, we will continue targeting the upside, but don't get me wrong. After we had a nice push higher this morning already, when the markets opened, it reached the area around the 1681 zone, so roughly around 1681.80 territory, somewhere around there basically. And then retraced a little bit lower. Now you can see that the bulls are still trying to push this one higher. The only question here is, of course, can they actually push it further north like this, because we are on quite a steep uprise already, so maybe a bit of a correction could be possible here. And we do have some interesting levels like the 1652 here, or even going a little bit lower here, this little territory, this little temporary resistance obstacle, which was kind of in the way here on Friday. So that's like that little intraday kind of swing high near the 1649 zone. So in a way, if we do see a bit of a drift lower here, this is the territory which could kind of provide some support, and from which the commodity could rebound and push back to the upside. For those, of course, who are more on the cautious side, you could just wait for a push of the 1680, 1681, and then target further higher levels. Of course, it could be opening the path towards that psychological 1700 barrier as well, so something to keep an eye on. But again, for now, given that we are quite have a nice quite steep uprise already, maybe a bit of correction here could do the trick for more buyers, and yep, we could see this one drifting back to the upside later on. For now, be very careful here for now, and let's see how this is going to play out. Now, in terms of the downside, with this one here, of course, we can get rid of some of these previous levels, but of course, we'll keep some of them here, like the 1612 territory, which is quite an interesting level still to keep an eye on, because as you can see, it did kind of provide a bit of resistance here on the 19th of February, but on the 20th it exploded above it. So in a way, if we see a drop below the 1649, then yep, we may see this one drifting further south. The only thing is probably my little recommendation here to keep an eye on this little 21 EMA here on the 4-hour chart. So because as you can see, it kind of continues to balance around it, but if we do get a strong move lower below this 21 EMA, then we could maybe consider a bit of a deeper correction to the downside. And for now, any move lower could still be as a temporary could be seen as a temporary correction before another leg of buying, because we're still trading above this short-term upside support line taken from the low of the 12th of December. So something to keep an eye on, guys. Now then, cryptos, the crypto world. Ripple, I talked about this one last week, and I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this little area of support here near the 0.2680 zone. So although we did get a bit of a retracement here to the upside, still it wasn't strong enough to push the, and let me just get rid of this upside line here, it wasn't strong enough to push the price above this little territory here. Let me just adjust this. There we go. So even though this morning it did try to overcome that barrier, the 0.2852, 53 zone, the crypto quickly kind of turned south again, and now it's getting closer to its 200 EMA on the 4-hour chart again, and closer to the 0.2680 zone. So if this area continues to hold, we may see a nice rebound and a push higher. But if this area gets broken, then, well, there could be a possibility to see some further declines. The only thing is that keep in mind that we do still have this upside support line taken from the low of the 3rd of January. So in a way, even though we see a drop below the 0.2680 zone, this is where the bulls could step in again and push the crypto back to the upside. Now, for those who are more on the cautious side, you could just probably wait this one out and wait until we get a push above the 0.2853 territory, somewhere around here, and only then aim for higher levels. In terms of the downside, of course, if we get the break of this this short-term upside support line and we see a drop below this little low, the low that we saw, the low of last week near the 0.2611 territory. Now this is where it could become a little bit more interesting for the sellers, as this could increase the crypto's chances of drifting further south, and yep, we could then target some of these lower levels that we saw in the beginning of February. However, don't forget that we're still trading above this other short-term upside support line. Now I do understand it's a little bit tentative, but nevertheless this upside support line taken from the low of the 18th of December could provide a bit of support if this if this crypto decides to drift below this short-term upside, this slightly steeper one, upside support line, and drift below the 0.2611 zone. So again, guys, for now, be very careful with this one. And as I said, for those who are more on the cautious side, you could just wait for a push above the 0.2852, 53 zone, and then target the upside. USDCAD. Now, I looked at this one last week, and look at this perfect move here where I've told you guys to keep an eye on this upside support line taken from the low of the 7th of January. Look at the beautiful kind of test that we had here on Friday, and the pair drifted lower, tested this upside line from which it rebounded back to the upside, and this morning we're seeing a nice push here, nice opening gap here to the upside, and of course currently the pair is balancing near this key area of resistance around the 1.3278 zone. So now this arrow, let's shift this arrow a little bit here. I will recycle it because this is I'm gonna mark the downside scenario with it. So basically the downside scenario here, of course, would be if we would get a break of this this short-term upside support line and a drop below the Friday's low, or the low of last week near the 1.3198 zone. So if we do get a drop below this, then yes, we will aim for the downside, and for now it's leaning more towards the upside, obviously, and you, of course, don't get me wrong, we'll keep this short and simple for now. If we do get a push above the 1.3278 zone, then yes, we will aim for the upside. Initially we'll target this little obstacle, the 1.3304 zone, or even better, the 1.3328 territory could be a good one as well to keep an eye on, because that's the current high of February, so something to keep an eye on. GBPJPY. GBPJPY. Now with this one here, I just wanted to show you that currently we are still stuck in this little range here. Now let me just mark this there very quickly. So although we did get an overshoot here on Friday, if we look at the daily chart, we'll see a nice false breakout. So we did have a nice false breakout, and as you can see, the pair kind of quickly drifted back inside this little range. The range is roughly between the 140.80 and 144.61 zone. Now that's approximately, because have a look at your own charts where you're trading, guys, and this here, for now, of course, we cannot really talk about any upside unless we get a nice strong push above this 144.61. But to be honest, we'll probably stick a little bit towards the cautiously bullish side, because we are closer to this upper bound here of this range. And in a way, if we do get a nice break above this, then yep, this is where we will start aiming for the high here of the 17th of December near the 146.13, and then of course we could see maybe a test of this highest point of December near the 147.96 zone. So, but again, as I said, we need to see a nice good push first through this upper side of the range. In terms of the downside, now in terms of the downside here, let me just jump back into a 4-hour chart. Now, in terms of the downside here, of course, the downside could be within this nice range here, because we will only, if we see a drop below the 143.38 zone, roughly around here, guys, then yes, we will aim for some lower levels. We'll target the lower side of this little range here, and then yep, we'll take it from there. Let me just quickly mark this little low here, that's one of the obstacles to keep an eye on, the 142.29. Slightly below that, the 142.11 zone. Let me just quickly zoom in here a little bit. Is that correct? And that's around there. Yes, so 142.11. So roughly this could be a nice area for support, initial support, but if it's just a temporary obstacle here for the sellers, then yep, a further drift lower could be possible. But all this, of course, is in the scenario if we get a drop below the 143.38 zone. So keep your eyes on that one, guys. And the last pair for the session is going to be the euro dollar, of course. Now look at a fantastic push higher that we had on Friday. So that's wonderful for the bulls, but as I've mentioned, well, as I was talking through the whole week, basically, that yes, although we could see a push up of the 1.0815, still the more comfortable level for us for the upside is this 1.0878 zone, and that's basically the lowest point of 2019. So now this is where it could become very interesting if the pair pushes above that barrier, then yes, we will aim for this downside resistance line taken from the high of the 31st of December, and then of course we'll take it from there. For now, you can see that it pushed higher, it tested this 1.0863 level, one of our targets I've mentioned as well in my previous videos last week, but didn't quite reach this 1.0878 zone. So it drifted back down. It's currently testing, or should I say even slightly falling below this 1.0815, but to be honest, for us to get excited about the downside here now, we would like to see a drop below the current lowest point of February near the 1.0777, and only then aim for the downside. For now, yep, keep your eyes on this one, guys. It's a very interesting one, very interesting situation here. As I said, with the upside, we'll only aim for higher levels from here, or at least we could start considering higher levels from this 1.0863 zone. But as I said, here, be very careful, guys, be very careful near this 1.0878 zone, so which is the lowest point of 2019, which now could become a very nice good area of resistance. But again, for now, guys, we're probably gonna take a more of a neutral stand from the very short-term perspective, because overall we're still bearish, but from the neutral stand, from the very short-term perspective, we'll take a neutral stand and wait for a breakthrough one of our key support and resistance levels. So on the upside, we are keeping an eye on the 1.0878. On the downside, the 1.0777 mark, which could do the trick here for more. There we go. Let me just quickly put this one on the chart. Could do the trick for more sellers. There we go. So I hope you found it useful, guys. Thank you very much for sticking around and watching it till the end. If you want to join me later on at my traders tea time, as always, 14:15 GMT, we'll have a look at some of these instruments, some new ones as well, and we'll pick up and see what has happened over these hours between the videos. And yep, guys, like I said, I'll be happy to see you there at 14:15 GMT, and today at my traders tea time. So yep, feel free to join in. Anyway, have a wonderful trading day, guys. Thank you very much, and bye bye.